Welcome to Book Summary Podcast, your gateway to personal transformation. Each episode delivers big ideas from the world's most impactful books on mindset, productivity, and success, all in just a few minutes. Ready to turn knowledge into action? Let's get started.
We often think of financial success as a straightforward equation, don't we?
Yeah, usually.
It's usually presented as something like intelligence plus relentless effort equals wealth.
Right, the standard formula we're all taught.
But what if that equation, the way we usually understand it, is fundamentally incomplete? What if it's missing some incredibly powerful, yet often invisible variables, things that actually dictate far more of our financial journeys than we maybe like to admit?
Indeed. I think many of us look at the titans of industry, the people who seem to achieve monumental success through sheer will and intellect. Or conversely, we observe people facing persistent financial struggles, and we draw very quick conclusions.
Oh, definitely. Snap judgments.
About their capabilities, maybe their choices, or even their inherent worth. But the real story, as we're about to dig into, is, it's far more nuanced.
More human.
Exactly, more deeply human, and frankly, more surprising than those comfortable narratives usually allow. It really challenges our basic assumptions about merit and outcome.
So today, we're taking a truly deep dive into Morgan Housel's brilliant book, The Psychology of Money. It really does shift your perspective.
He absolutely does.
And specifically, our focus today is squarely on Chapter 2. It's a profound exploration titled Luck and Risk.
Such a critical chapter.
Yeah, and this isn't just about recounting what happened in the financial world, like a history lesson. It's about trying to understand why it happened.
Getting beneath the surface.
Right, digging into the unseen forces and the human behaviors that shape our financial realities.
Yeah.
And more importantly, we'll connect this back to what it means for how you, the listener, think about your own financial life.
Your aspirations, your plans.
And your inevitable setbacks too.
Yeah.
Because we all face them.
Absolutely. So our mission today is really to challenge those comfortable, often simplistic narratives we tell ourselves about money and success.
The easy answers.
Exactly. We want to offer you a shortcut to truly being well-informed, armed with a more realistic and insightful perspective.
So what's the takeaway?
Well, by the end of this deep dive, you'll discover how randomness, both luck and risk, plays a far bigger, more impactful role than most people realize.
Okay.
You'll hopefully get those satisfying aha moments about why people, maybe including yourself, make the often, let's face it, irrational financial choices they do.
We've all been there.
Oh, for sure. And ultimately, we hope you'll maybe become a little less judgmental of others' financial situations.
And yourself.
And yourself, yes. And hopefully a lot more insightful about your own path and, crucially, those uncontrollable forces that are always at play.
Okay, so let's kick this off with a premise that, for many of us might feel a little counterintuitive at first.
All right.
The idea that doing well with money has significantly less to do with how smart you are, how high your IQ is,
Right.
and a lot more to do with your behavior.
Okay, behavior over brains.
And here's what's really intriguing about this, as our sources highlight. These behavioral aspects, they're notoriously hard to teach, even to the most brilliant minds.
Which is almost paradoxical, isn't it?
Yeah. We spend years in school getting advanced degrees, learning complex finance, economic models, investment theories, all the hard stuff.
Formulas, the data.
Exactly. But knowing what to do, like the logical next step on a spreadsheet, that tells you absolutely nothing about what actually happens in your head when you try to do it.
Right, the execution gap.
It's not a hard science, like physics, where you input data and reliably predict an outcome. It's more of a soft skill.
Like managing yourself.
Precisely. Mastering yourself, emotional regulation, understanding human nature, which are often far more complex and definitely more influential than any algorithm.
It's true. We might intellectually grasp something like the power of compounding.
Sure, the math is simple.
But the behavioral discipline needed to actually let it work for decades, resisting the urge to constantly check prices or chase the latest hot trend or just panic when things dip.
Or get greedy when things soar.
Or get greedy, exactly. That's where the real enduring challenge lies. It's all behavior.
It really is.
And that's precisely it. Consider this striking anecdote from our sources. It's about a technology executive.
Okay.
Someone who, on paper, was an undeniable genius, I mean, in his 20s, he designed patented technology, started several wildly successful companies.
Wow, young start.
Yeah, even credited with a key component in Wi-Fi routers. So, by any conventional metric, a certified intellectual powerhouse. Astonishing financial success early on.
A dream scenario, right?
Totally. But this executive was known to frequent a high-end hotel in LA, and he'd often flash literal bricks of cash.
Seriously, bricks.
Yeah, like reveling in his perceived untouchability. So one evening, an incident. He shatters a $500 lamp in the hotel restaurant.
Oops. Okay, accidents happen.
Sure. But when the manager, understandably, tells him he needs to cover the cost, the executive reacts not with, regret or understanding, with incredulous indignation. He dramatically pulls out this thick wad of cash, throws $5,000, 10 times the lamp's value, at the manager.
$5,000.
Yeah, and publicly humiliates them with a stream of insults.
Right.
Just awful behavior.
Wow.
So years later, this same intellectual giant, despite his early triumphs, his undeniable genius, he went completely broke.
Broke. After all that success.
Totally broke. His extraordinary intellect, his groundbreaking tech understanding, none of it could compensate for this profound lack of behavioral control.
Humility, too, sounds like.
Zero humility. An inability to manage his emotions, especially around money. It's such a vivid illustration of the book's core idea. Intellect alone, often just not enough.
Wow, that is a truly striking cautionary tale. A certified genius, incredibly successful on paper, but completely undone by his own unchecked behavior.
Yeah.
It forces you to ask, is this just a one-off, an anomaly? Or does it hint at something deeper, more pervasive about money and, well, human nature?
I think it does.
And if that's the case, what about the other side of that coin? Could someone with, say, no formal financial education, someone whose life looks totally ordinary, could they somehow achieve extraordinary wealth?
Maybe because of those behavioral traits the genius lacked.
Exactly. It feels almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're sort of conditioned to believe you need the MBA, the aggressive business sense, to make a real fortune.
It does feel counterintuitive, but the answer, according to our sources, is an emphatic absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Consider the remarkable yet incredibly humble story of Ronald Read.
Ronald Read?
He was an American philanthropist eventually, but before that, for most of his life, he was a janitor and a gas station attendant from rural Vermont.
A janitor and gas station attendant.
That's right. His life, by all outward appearances, was as low-key and frankly unremarkable as you can imagine.
Wow.
He was the first in his family to graduate high school, which itself was a big deal. He apparently hitchhiked to campus each day to make it happen.
Good dedication.
Yeah. But beyond that, for people who knew him, there wasn't much that screamed, future millionaire.
So what did he do?
Well, Read spent 25 years fixing cars at a gas station, then another 17 years sweeping floors at a JCPenney.
Long career, steady work.
Very steady. He bought a modest 2-bedroom house for $12,000 when he was 38, lived there his whole life. He was widowed at 50, never remarried. His main hobby, a friend once recalled, it was just chopping firewood.
A simple life.
Extremely simple. Yet when he died in 2014 at age 92, this humble rural janitor made international headlines.
Why? What happened?
He left over $8 million.
$8 million.
Yep. About $2 million to his stepkids and a staggering $6 million split between his local hospital and library.
From a janitor. That completely defies, well, everything you normally think about building wealth.
It really does.
I can only imagine the shock of people who knew him. Where did it all come from? You said no lottery, no inheritance?
Nope. No secret windfall, no high-flying business deals, just a quiet life of hard work and, crucially, a very specific, consistent set of behaviors.
Okay, so what was his secret formula? How does an unassuming guy like that achieve such an extraordinary financial outcome?
Well, as Housel puts in the book, there was no secret at all. His formula was disarmingly simple, but profoundly powerful.
Which was?
He saved what little he could consistently from his modest wages. That's step one.
Okay, saving. Makes sense.
Then he invested those savings in what our sources describe as blue chip stocks.
Ah, okay. So big, stable companies.
Exactly. Think Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson companies with long, reliable histories of earnings and dividends. Nothing flashy.
Got it. And then?
And then he just waited.
Waited.
For decades. He let those tiny, consistent savings compound year after year through market ups and downs. No panic selling, no greedy buying, just patience. And it grew to more than $8 million.
Patience and consistency over decades.
That was it. And the contrast with our earlier genius, the tech exec, it's truly stark. Just a few months before Ronald Reed died, another guy, Richard Feascone, was in the news.
Okay, who was he?
Feascone was, in many ways, everything Reed was not. Harvard-educated, Merrill Lynch executive, MBA.
High flyer.
Totally.
Okay.
Lauded in business circles for his business-savvy, leadership skills, sound judgment. Crane's Business magazine even put him in a 40 under 40 list.
So the opposite of Reed.
Completely. Yet, around the same time Reed passed away with his millions, Feascone lost his huge mansions in Palm Beach and Greenwich to foreclosure.
Foreclosure, after all that success.
Yep. His Greenwich home, famous for this extravagant indoor pool with a transparent cover, sold in foreclosure for like 75% less than its estimated value. Wiped out.
Wow. So what was the difference? Why did Reed succeed and Feascone fail so spectacularly?
As Housel notes, very simply, Ronald Reed was patient. Richard Feascone was greedy.
Patience versus greed. That's it.
That behavioral distinction, according to the analysis, completely overshadowed their immense gap in education, experience, and initial opportunity.
That's incredible.
It profoundly underscores that financial success isn't some rigid blueprint, laws you plug into a calculator. It's more fluid, almost like an art, a soft skill rooted in psychology and behavior, more like mastering an instrument than solving an equation.
These stories really do compel you to rethink what drives success and failure. It's clearly not just raw intelligence or formal training.
Not at all.
It's about how you operate in the world, the habits you build, the emotional discipline you bring.
Right.
But this behavioral piece, it's deeply intertwined with another set of often invisible forces, isn't it? Because how you operate, the choices you make, they don't happen in a vacuum.
True.
They're constantly interacting with these two powerful, unpredictable forces that Housel calls siblings.
Luck and risk.
Exactly. Luck and risk. They are, as the book puts it, the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort.
It's like that Stat Galloway quote.
Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems.
Precisely. We inherently want to believe we're fully in control, that our destiny is entirely in our own hands.
The illusion of control.
Yeah, but these forces, luck and risk, are constantly at play, shaping not just the final outcomes, but the very landscape where our behavior plays out. And to really grasp this interplay, let's dig into another incredible story, almost mythic, really. Bill Gates.
Ah, okay. The ultimate example, maybe.
Well, his name is synonymous with staggering intelligence, relentless hard work, a vision for computing few could match. We all know that.
Sure.
But Housel highlights a critical, often overlooked piece of his origin story, a foundational element that was undeniably a stroke of profound luck.
Which was?
He attended Lakeside School in Seattle in 1968.
Okay. What was special about Lakeside?
It was one of only a handful of high schools in the entire world with a computer at that time.
In the world.
Yes.
In 1968.
That's right. And the story of how they got it is amazing itself. A visionary math teacher, Bill Dougal, convinced the Lakeside School Mothers Club to use proceeds from their annual rummage sale, about $3,000.
From a rummage sale.
Yeah, to lease a teletype Model 30 computer hooked up to a GE mainframe for time sharing. This was revolutionary stuff.
Time sharing was new then, right?
Barely invented. It let multiple users access the same expensive computer, making it feel like they had their own machine. An incredible playground.
So Gates had access to this as a kid.
As an 8th grader, think about it. Most university graduate schools didn't have computing power like that back then.
That is unbelievable access.
And because it was part of an independent study program, he and Paul Allen could just toy away with the thing at their leisure. Countless hours after school, late nights, weekends, just letting their creativity run wild.
Unfettered access.
Gates himself openly said if there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft.
Wow. He attributes it directly.
Directly. It was, by any measure, a 1 in a million head start, an undeniable, colossal stroke of luck that fundamentally shaped his future, and ours, too, really.
A 1 in a million luck factor.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a statement. And deeply humbling when you think about how unlikely that opportunity was.
Absolutely.
It paints this picture of exceptional talent meeting an incredibly rare, perfectly timed opportunity, something you just couldn't engineer.
Right. Couldn't plan for it.
But the story, fascinatingly, doesn't end there, does it? Because where you find extraordinary luck,
You often find its sibling.
risk, sometimes equally powerful and tragically devastating, even among people who share the same lucky start.
Indeed. Housel then introduces us to Kent Evans.
Kent Evans, I don't know that name.
He's the largely forgotten third member of that original high school computer prodigy group at Lakeside.
The third amigo.
Pretty much. Bill Gates and Kent Evans became best friends in 8th grade. Their bond was so strong that Gates, decades later in that Inside Bill's Brain documentary, could still recall Evans's old phone number from memory.
Wow. That's a real connection.
Yeah. And Gates described Evans as the best student in the class, equally skilled with computers as both Gates and Allen.
As skilled as Gates and Allen.
According to Gates, there's this great anecdote. The school struggled with manually creating class schedules, a nightmare of complexity. They tasked Bill and Kent, still just kids, to build a computer program to solve it.
And did they?
It worked flawlessly, revolutionized how the school ran things.
Incredible.
And unlike Paul Allen, Kent apparently also shared Bill's intense business mind and endless ambition.
So tech skills and business drive.
Exactly. Gates vividly remembered them scheming about the future. Should we go be CEOs? What kind of impact could you have? Should we go be generals, ambassadors? Big dreams.
Wow. Planning it all out.
And Gates expressed this clear, heartfelt belief. We would have kept working together. I'm sure we would have gone to college together.
So Evans could have been.
By all accounts, based on Gates' own words and Evans' abilities, Kent could very well have been a founding partner of Microsoft, right alongside Gates and Allen, an integral part of it all.
That's a truly profound thought. How a single individual so talented, so instrumental in those early days could have been part of that future.
Yeah, imagine Microsoft with 3 founders like that.
It's almost impossible to picture it any other way now, but we rarely hear his name.
Yeah.
So what happened to Kent Evans? Where did his path diverge?
Tragically, Kent died in a mountaineering accident before graduating high school.
Oh no, while still in high school.
Yeah. In the U.S., there are, on average, maybe 3 dozen mountaineering deaths a year. So the odds of being killed climbing a mountain while you're still in high school, roughly 1 in a million.
1 in a million.
Just like Gates' luck with Lakeside.
Exactly the same odds, working the other way. Consider the astonishing parallel. Bill Gates experienced 1 in a million luck by landing at Lakeside, getting that crucial head start.
Right.
Ken Evans experienced 1 in a million risk by never getting to finish what they started. His immense potential tragically cut short.
The same force, same magnitude, just opposite directions.
Precisely. For 2 individuals with similar talent, similar drive, on the exact same path initially, it illustrates, with heartbreaking clarity, that the world is just too complex for 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes.
Those accidental impacts.
They can be more consequential, more defining than the most deliberate choices we make, entirely outside our control.
That's a truly powerful and, yeah, humbling contrast, isn't it? It really drives home this idea that we're all playing this game with billions of others, infinite moving parts.
Where these accidental impacts can just overshadow our best laid plans. It makes you wonder how many Kent Evanses are out there.
Whose stories we'll never know.
Yeah, whose potential was huge, but just snuffed out by some random twist of fate. And equally, how many Bill Gates has benefited from some random twist, that 1 in a million opportunity. Just the flip side of the same cosmic coin.
And yet, despite how central luck and risk clearly are in these dramatic examples, it's fascinating how much we consistently overlook them.
We really do.
In our narratives of success and failure, as Housel observes, there's a strong psychological barrier.
Why is that?
Well, think about it. Attributing someone else's success primarily to luck often makes you seem jealous, maybe even mean-spirited.
Right, especially in a culture that worships individual effort.
Exactly. Meritocracy. Nobody wants to look like they're diminishing someone's hard work, even if we know, intellectually, luck played a part.
Okay, that makes sense for judging others.
Yeah.
What about ourselves?
On the flip side, judging yourself. Attributing your own success mainly to luck, that can feel deeply demoralizing.
Yeah, it takes the shine off.
It diminishes your sense of hard-earned achievement, makes it feel less significant, less earned. So it's a real psychological hurdle, makes it tough to be objective about our own journey and others. It's just much more satisfying, more flattering to believe our success is all down to our own brilliance and effort.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think, and quite illuminating about us humans. There's research by an economist, Bhaskar Mazumdar, and he unearthed this truly surprising finding.
What did he find?
Incomes among brothers are more correlated than their height or weight.
More correlated than height or weight, seriously.
Yeah, just pause on that for a second. If you are rich and tall, Your brother is statistically more likely to also be rich than he is to be tall.
Wow. Okay, so that points to...
It powerfully suggests that these deeply embedded, often inherited factors, things like the quality of your schooling, your social network, the doors open for you, family values, the economic environment you're born into.
Your starting point.
Exactly. All heavily linked to your parents' socioeconomic status, your upbringing, things largely outside your control.
Right.
Yet, Housel points out, if you found two wealthy brothers, they'd almost certainly not have that finding applies to them.
They'd say, no, we worked hard for this.
Precisely. Because we prefer these simple, clear-cut narratives of individual effort, merit, self-made success, even if they're misleading.
They're just more palatable, more empowering, maybe.
Than confronting the messy, uncomfortable reality of randomness, inherited advantage, the sheer lottery of birth. It's that narrative fallacy or fundamental attribution error. Again, right, overemphasizing the internal, underemphasizing the external.
And this pervasive bias extends profoundly into how we judge historical figures, too. Often clouds our understanding, leaves us with incomplete, sometimes dangerous lessons.
How so?
Well, take those titans of industry like Cornelius Vanderbilt or John D. Rockefeller.
Okay, the robber barons.
Right. Housel discusses how their frequent bending or breaking of laws, their aggressive, often ruthless tactics, they're routinely praised by historians as cunning business smarts.
Shrewdness, boldness.
Exactly. Vanderbilt famously said, "What do I care about the law? Ain't I got the power?" And that quote is often recounted with this hint of admiration, framing his disregard for laws as courageous, visionary boldness.
Right, like he was above it all.
Yet, if another company, say Enron, does something strikingly similar, bends, breaks, ignores rules for profit, they are universally condemned.
Corrupt, criminal, unethical. Yeah.
The line between bold and reckless is incredibly thin.
Yeah.
Very subjective. And crucially, as the book points out, it's only visible with hindsight.
Hindsight makes geniuses or criminals.
Exactly. Without properly accounting for luck and risk, without understanding the specific circumstances and the roll of the dice in those moments, that line is often invisible. We can't objectively assess their decisions in the moment.
So Rockefeller's story could have gone very differently.
Think about it. Standard Oil was called no better than a common thief by a judge for his tactics. He's revered now as this unassailable genius. But how little would things have needed to shift? How few of those risky bets needed to turn against him for his story to flip from genius to criminal in the public mind?
Not much, probably.
Very little. We just cherry-pick the successes and rationalize the questionable stuff after the fact, once we know how it turned out.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us then? This difficulty in separating skill from luck, bold from reckless.
Yeah.
It makes it incredibly hard to learn what actually works with money, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It blinds us.
We focus on the visible stuff, the headlines, the narratives.
Without seeing the invisible variables, the luck, the risk, that were often the real deciding factors. It's like trying to understand a complex machine just by looking at its shiny outside, ignoring the crucial gears inside. Precisely. And the core problem, as Housel highlights, is that in real time, it's almost impossible to know, like, was that 5-year flat period for your stock a genuinely bad decision on your part?
Or just bad luck?
Or just the unfortunate side of, say, an 80% chance of making money? How do you distinguish that in the moment? Was it a mistaken judgment or just risk rearing its head?
You really can't day to day.
It's too hard to measure statistically. So our brains, craving simplicity, just grab onto simple stories. They're easy to digest, easy to retell.
But often totally misleading.
Devilishly misleading because they gloss over that messy reality of randomness. Think about a magazine like Forbes.
Right, celebrating success.
They almost certainly celebrate rich investors who made, okay, maybe even reckless decisions, but just got lucky.
Rode a wave.
Exactly. Rode a market wave, caught a trend, low probability but big payoff. But Forbes, or any similar publication, rarely, if ever, celebrates a maybe poorer investor who made genuinely good, well-researched decisions based on sound principles, but just got hit by bad luck.
The unlucky side of risk.
Right. Both might have, as Housel puts it, flipped the same coin that happened to land on a different side, but only one gets the praise, the cover story, the adulation.
And that creates dangerous lessons.
Absolutely. It encourages emulating luck, which you can't control, instead of focusing on sound judgment and consistent, disciplined behavior, the only things you can control. We learn to chase the extreme outlier, not the sustainable average.
Okay, so if luck and risk are so pervasive, so tangled up, and so hard to pin down, how can you, our listener, navigate your financial journey more effectively. It sounds kind of like a minefield,
It can feel that way.
a casino where the odds are invisible. But the good news is Housel's insights aren't just about spotting the problems. They offer concrete wisdom too.
Yeah, there are actionable takeaways.
Our source gives 2 absolutely crucial pieces of advice. Things that can point you in a profoundly better direction, help cut through the noise, recognize those unseen forces, and focus on what really matters.
Okay, the first piece of advice is fundamental. It's a call for profound humility.
Humility. Oh,
Be careful who you praise and admire. Be careful who you look down upon and wish to avoid becoming.
unpack that a bit.
It means being really cautious about assuming that 100% of anyone's outcomes, good or bad, are solely down to their own effort and decisions.
Look beyond the surface.
Exactly. Housel mentions writing a letter to his son after he was born, encapsulating this idea. He wrote, "Not all success is due to hard work, and not all poverty is due to laziness."
That's powerful and true.
People are born into vastly different circumstances, right? The lottery of birth. Some get families encouraging education, access to elite schools. Others get flourishing economies. Others get war zones, dire poverty, systemic barriers.
Completely different starting lines.
Totally. And these initial conditions, completely outside individual control, play a huge role in shaping life trajectories, including financial ones.
So keeping that perspective.
Keeping that broader, more empathetic perspective in mind can fundamentally change how you judge people. And yourself.
Less judgment, more understanding.
Yes. It cultivates necessary humility, helps you see those powerful, invisible forces, luck and whisk, and crucially, refocuses your energy on what you can control.
Your behavior, your choices.
Your discipline. It stops you falling into the trap of thinking every success story is pure genius to be worshipped, or every struggle is just laziness to be scorned. It allows for a more nuanced, compassionate, and frankly more accurate view of the human condition and money.
That is a powerful call for humility. And as we said, always a good thing to cultivate, especially in finance, which can be so driven by ego and certainty. It shifts the view from rigid judgment to more compassionate, realistic understanding, seeing the whole story, not just the highlight or the low point. Okay, so what's the second piece of practical advice for navigating this complex landscape?
The second piece is equally crucial for actually doing something with this knowledge. Focus less on specific individuals and case studies and more on broad patterns.
Broad patterns, not specific people. Why?
Housel explains that the extreme examples, the billionaires, the headline-grabbing CEOs, or conversely, the massive failures, they're often the least applicable to your own life.
Really? We tend to focus on them the most.
We do, but their outcomes are usually so heavily influenced by the extreme ends of luck or risk that trying to emulate them is often futile, maybe even dangerous.
Because their circumstances were so unique.
Exactly. The more extreme the outcome, the less likely you can directly apply its lessons. That specific mix of unique opportunities and unforeseen risks that shaped their path, almost impossible to replicate.
So where should we look instead?
Look for common, broad patterns of success and failure that apply to the vast majority of people. Things you see repeated over and over.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like realizing that people who consistently save some portion of their income, even if it's small, tend to build wealth over time. That's a broad, common observation.
Okay, simple but effective.
Or that individuals who gain more control over their time tend to report higher levels of happiness. That's broad enough that you can actually do something with it. Maybe adjust your career or lifestyle to prioritize time autonomy.
That's interesting, the link between time control and happiness.
Yeah, and that's a theme we'll definitely dig into much deeper in future deep dives. It's about finding those universal general principles that are broadly applicable.
Not trying to replicate the unrepeatable outlier.
Precisely. Embrace the average, reliable approach over the seductive but often misleading extreme case study.
That's such practical and wise advice for filtering information, especially today with social media and everything.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's so easy to get lost admiring those extreme success stories on magazine covers, right? The secret to billions.
We've all seen them.
But as you've pointed out, they might not be teaching the most relevant or even the safest lessons for your journey. It's about finding those universal truths that lead to consistent, sustainable progress.
Not chasing the rare exception. Exactly.
Yeah.
And tied right into this, Housel brings up that profound wisdom from Bill Gates again, a stark self-reflection from one of the most successful people ever.
What did Gates say?
Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose.
Oof. That hits home.
Doesn't it? When things are going incredibly well for you, investments soaring, business thriving, it's absolutely vital to acknowledge the role luck might have played.
Maintain perspective.
Right. It's not about diminishing your hard work or talent, but keeping things grounded.
Yeah.
Because if you acknowledge luck helped your success,
Then you have to acknowledge risk can undo it.
you must believe in luck's unpredictable cousin, risk. It can turn things around just as quickly, maybe quicker. The same forces that lifted you can bring you down.
And what about the flip side? Failure.
Failure can also be a lousy teacher.
Yeah.
It can make you think your decisions were terrible, that you're just flawed.
When maybe it was just bad luck again.
When maybe it just reflected the unforgiving realities of risk, the unlucky 20% outcome from an 80% good decision. You did everything right, the dice just rolled wrong that time.
So what's the practical advice then? How do you deal with that uncertainty?
The trick is to arrange your financial life with what Housel calls room for error.
Room for error, margin of safety.
Build in enough cushion, enough resilience, so that a single bad investment, an unexpected downturn, a missed goal, it won't wipe you out entirely.
Survive to play another day.
Exactly. You need enough resilience to keep playing until the odds fall in your favor. Because over the long haul, with enough attempts and consistent behavior, those statistical probabilities tend to even out. Your good decisions eventually yield results.
So it all comes back to.
It reinforces that powerful principle. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Maintain balance, humility, realism. Understand the journey is long, full of both fortune and misfortune. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into these intertwined, often invisible forces of luck and risk.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is. It's such a powerful and, truly humbling reminder that our financial lives, our careers, our successes, they're far more complex than just simple cause and effect.
Definitely not A plus B equals C.
Not at all. It's clear that humility and just having a realistic perspective on randomness are maybe our most valuable assets, even if they don't show up on a balance sheet.
Intangible, but crucial.
These stories really shake up those comfortable narratives we tell ourselves, don't they? About how wealth is made or lost, how careers rise and fall.
Indeed. Today, you've heard how extraordinary luck, that 1 in a million head start, can propel someone to dizzying heights, shaping not just their destiny, but the world around us.
Like with Gates.
And conversely, how equally potent risk can tragically derail someone else, even with similar talent and drive, like Ken Evans.
Heartbreaking.
You've also gained insight into how hard it is for us, with our biases, our craving for simple stories, to really tell the difference between skill and chance.
Praising one, condemning another for similar actions.
Just based on the outcome, exactly. So this profound understanding that nothing is ever truly as good or as bad as it seems. It lets us judge ourselves and others with more compassion, more realism.
And focus on what we can control.
And most importantly, yes, focus our precious energy on the behavioral aspects of money that are genuinely within our control.
So the next time you encounter someone wildly successful or you hear about a sudden dramatic failure, maybe just take a moment, pause. Remember that invisible, powerful hand of luck and risk that's almost certainly playing a part. It's not just about what people do,
but the unpredictable forces shaping their journey.
The hidden variables that so often determine the final score. Hopefully this understanding reshapes how you think about striving for success, how you manage your own expectations.
And how you view your own unique path. And speaking of striving for success and managing expectations, even when you start to grasp this dance between luck and risk, there's another powerful psychological force just waiting, always there.
Oh.
What's that? It's that deeply ingrained human tendency to always want a little more, no matter how much you already have.
The moving goalpost.
Exactly. It's this insatiable drive. It can lead to immense achievement, sure, but also profound, sometimes catastrophic regret, pushing millionaires to whisk it all to become billionaires, or ordinary folks to jeopardize their security for just a bit more.
That is a perfect lead-in to our next deep dive, and a really compelling thought to leave everyone with.
It's a powerful one.
We'll be exploring Chapter 3 of The Psychology of Money, which is aptly titled Never Enough.
A very fitting title.
We'll discover why even the wealthiest among us can find themselves chasing that ever-moving goalpost, constantly striving, risking everything for what they don't truly need, and the profound implications that has for happiness, peace of mind, and financial well-being. Join us next time for that essential conversation.
Thanks for tuning in to the Book Summary Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, hit that like button, subscribe for more summaries, and share it with someone who's ready to grow. Want deeper insights, exclusive book notes, and reading tips? Join our free newsletter. The link's in the description. And don't forget, if you'd like to read the full book, our affiliate link is right below. It helps support the channel and keeps the summaries coming. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing. Welcome to Book Summary Podcast, your gateway to personal transformation. Each episode delivers big ideas from the world's most impactful books on mindset, productivity, and success, all in just a few minutes. Ready to turn knowledge into action? Let's get started.
Welcome back to the deep dive. I am really thrilled to have you joining us again as we get into some fascinating stuff about money, how we think about it, how we earn it, and how we live with it. Today, we're cracking open Chapter 3 from our source material. It's got this really provocative title, Never Enough. And believe me, it's going to make you think, maybe challenge some of your basic ideas about wealth and, well, happiness. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into something that feels, I don't know, almost like a contradiction. This idea that having more money doesn't automatically equal being happier. In fact, sometimes chasing more all the time can actually lead to, well, disaster, unhappiness, really bad choices, sometimes even total ruin.
Yeah, it's a crucial point you're raising there.
So the big question for us today is, how do these incredibly successful people, people with wealth, most of us can barely imagine, how do they still get caught in this trap? This insatiable desire for more, often risking everything they already have, and maybe more importantly, everything they actually need. What pushes someone who's already at the top, financially speaking, to keep going, often right over the edge?
You've really hit on something central there. Because, as a society, we tend to look at financial success mostly through the lens of accumulation, right? Bigger numbers, more assets. The portfolio always needs to grow.
Yeah, bigger is better.
Bigger is better, exactly. But this chapter and what we're digging into today, it frames it quite differently. It's not just about the raw amount of money someone has.
Okay.
It's more about these, well, deeply ingrained human behaviors, these psychological patterns that, drive our decisions, and the huge impact of our internal grasp, or maybe our lack of grasp of what enough actually means.
That internal sense.
Precisely. And this isn't, just about the billionaires or the famous names you hear about. It's a really pervasive psychological challenge. It affects pretty much everyone's financial life, no matter where they are on the ladder right now.
Yeah.
It boils down to that internal feeling,
Yeah.
Psychological satisfaction or dissatisfaction, more than just the numbers on a spreadsheet.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, our mission really is to explore how this constant chase for more, often fueled by these goalposts that just keep moving, and that tricky trap of comparing ourselves to others, how that can lead people down a path to, well, personal and financial ruin. We want to show you how defining your own sense of enough isn't just some nice philosophical idea, or something for people who aren't ambitious. It's actually a critical, often completely overlooked, but totally essential financial skill.
It really is. Foundational, almost.
Yeah. So we'll use some really powerful stories and some deep insights from the source material to make these sort of abstract ideas feel real, relatable, and hopefully really valuable for you as you figure out your own financial path. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
The mirage of more when accumulation leads to ruin.
Okay, so to get us started, let's dive right into this anecdote. It just perfectly, almost painfully captures the core tension we're talking about today.
Yeah, this one's a classic.
Right. So picture this. A super glamorous party, impossibly fancy, out on Shelter Island. It's packed with the financial elite billionaires, big shot investors, all mingling, talking deals.
High flyers.
Exactly. And amidst all this, you've got the writer Kurt Vonnegut talking with his friend Joseph Heller, the author of Catch-22.
A literary legend.
Totally. Oh. So Vonnegut points out to Heller, maybe a little wistfully, that their host is this big hedge fund manager, one of those guys managing huge sums for wealthy clients, making crazy returns.
Right, playing in a different league financially.
He'd made more money in one single day than Heller had earned from his incredibly famous book, Catch-22, over its entire lifetime. Think about that.
It's staggering when you put it like that.
And Heller's response, it was simple, but just, wow. A total mic drop. He just looked at Vonnegut and said, yes, but I have something he will never have.
Beyond.
Enough.
Ah, there it is.
Just enough. And this is where it gets really, really interesting, isn't it? Because that tiny exchange, it just lays bare the central conflict of this whole deep dive, that stark, sometimes uncomfortable difference between having tons of material wealth and having this deep internal feeling of contentment.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder, almost poetic, like you said. Money can buy a lot, no doubt, security, fancy things, opportunities, but it doesn't automatically buy that very personal, very human sense of sufficiency.
Yeah, you can't order enough on Amazon.
Chuckles slightly. No, you really can't. It's a state of mind, not a commodity. Heller's comment just cuts through all the usual ways we measure success, the balance sheets, the income statements. It points to this basic human tendency we often forget. No matter how much we get, how high we climb, there's often this little voice, this nagging feeling that it's still not quite enough.
Always needing more.
Which raises a